Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Well, DMCA strikes are back in the news again today, and for once, it doesn't involve my channel. Somewhat of a refreshing change for me, but extremely unfortunate for the recipients of these latest DMCA filings. I am, of course, talking about the ESL and their filing of multiple DMCA takedowns against Dota 2 Twitch streamers over the course of the last 24 hours. The two Twitch streamers in particular were affected that I am aware of so far, but there is a possibility that there could be even more than that. The first was Mike LaPhoenix, better known as MLP Dota. He had posted at 8:56 p.m. Pacific yesterday on Twitter confirming his ban from Twitch TV was due to a DMCA strike. The next channel to fall was Brian Knaven, aka Banana Slam Jamma, member of VGJ Storm, a scant 3 hours later announcing on Twitter that his channel had been banned as well. As is natural, fans of both of these streamers are outraged over ESL's actions and have made no attempt to hide their disdain of the ESL, along with much of the Dota community. In response to this, ESL posted a statement on Reddit. There they said, "Hey, a lot of you have questions about alternative streams. Here's what I can say on that for today and the following days. Anyone can stream Dota, as Valve stated after TI7, as long as they are community streamers free of commercial interest." And they posted a link to a statement made by Valve in regards to a similar situation that occurred back in October that we'll get into in just a moment. They continued with, "Keeping with these guidelines and the agreement we have to broadcast ESL 1, we are not going to allow any streams that are competing with our main language streams, and we can't let streams that monetize content from this tournament stay up. Best regards, Jonas BSL Viken, ESL Tournament Director." And before we go into the particulars of what it is most likely happening here, I think it would be a good idea to go through Valve's posting back in October that reads, "Recently, as we're preparing to get into the swing of a bunch of great tournaments, there has been a lot of discussion happening around who is allowed to broadcast professional Dota 2 matches. While there is a tendency to oversimplify issues like these, oftentimes it takes a fair amount of effort to work through what the right outcome is for the community as a whole. With any change to any of our products, we tend to start with a framing question of what is best for our customers. This means all customers, not just the ones who care about professional play, but also those who are ardently follow specific streamers, along with tournament operators and their sponsors. Generally, we tend to try and tread pretty lightly around areas where the community outside of Valve is doing a lot of the work, primarily because we don't want to stifle invention that leads to someone doing something really cool that we hadn't thought of. The community has built many beneficial things for itself. Websites like Dota Buff, contributions to the Steam Workshop, independent broadcast studios, sites like Dat Dota, streamers with unique communities of fans, and because of that, we think that the community should have broad license in terms of what is allowed. Hopefully, that background is useful when considering the specific issue of who should be broadcasting Dota 2 matches. Broadly speaking, we see two groups of fans with some degrees of overlap. Some fans follow competitive play. They have favorite teams, players, casters, tournaments, and want to consume content directly from tournament organizers who are producing events. Other fans have strong affinities to specific personalities, and they watch them play games, talk about games, and cast a variety of professional, amateur, and pub games. We want to make sure that there is content available that serves both groups of customers. To that end, in addition to the official, fully produced streams from the tournament organizer itself, we believe that anyone should be able to broadcast a match from Dota TV for their audience. However, we don't think they should do so in a commercial manner or in a way that directly competes with the tournament organizer's stream. This means no advertising/branding overlays and no sponsorships. It also means not using any of the official broadcast content such as caster audio, camera work, overlays, interstitial content, and so on. Finally, this is not permission for studios to broadcast each other's events. In general, everyone should play nice together, and we think the boundaries should be pretty clear. Which, boiling things down to the essence of the matter, Valve is fine with anyone streaming a Dota match or casting one, but commercial broadcasts will be limited to the ESL unless those streams are not monetized. And the reason for that? Well, that's where the DMCA comes in. The DMCA, or Digital Millennium Copyright Act, is designed to protect the copyright holders and allow them avenues to protect their intellectual property from being infringed upon. There are three major aspects to this that bear discussing, as each of them plays a part in what is happening here. The first is the concept of safe harbor, which is something under which Steam, YouTube, Twitch, and other video-on-demand or live streaming platforms operate. This basically absolves them of liability, claiming they are not responsible for the content that is uploaded to their platforms in regards to copyrighted material. This safe harbor provisioning also requires that these platforms provide a method for copyright holders to be able to file claims under the DMCA to be able to protect their property. Sites like YouTube and Twitch are obligated to comply with a legal DMCA takedown request if there is a reasonable assumption that the filing is valid. Now, this is a legal proceeding, and to file a spurious DMCA takedown, if pursued in court, could lead to fines and possible imprisonment, as a false claim is an act of perjury under U.S. law as well as several other countries. The government, however, will not come arrest you if you file a false claim, as this would need to be pursued in a civil suit. No, it's up to the person or persons who are hit with the false DMCA strike to file a lawsuit to get that ball rolling. And pairing with that, filing a false counterclaim could lead to the same potential legal action, so filing a counterclaim should only be done if you are certain that the strike is an error. The second aspect that bears considering here is the concept of fair use. A fair use exemption is what gaming channels and Twitch streamers rely on to be able to even post content on the internet. Channels like mine that very much fall under the auspices of news, critical commentary, and critique typically have very little to fear in that regard, as the idea of fair use was specifically written to cover those aspects. Twitch streamers and Let's Plays fall under an area that is far more gray than it is black and white. While some of their work can be considered transformative in nature, the determination on whether or not Let's Plays or live-streamed content is fair use actually has to be taken on a case-by-case basis, and as such, those two aspects of gaming content might not always be protected. However, by and large, most games publishers and developers have no problem with their games being covered by Let's Players and streamers, as it's essentially free publicity. Much of the industry sees the value in the services that those content creators provide and don't actually have a problem with it. The third aspect again falls under transformative work and also with a written license. Now, we know for a fact that the ESL has a partnership agreement to stream on Facebook, and Dota 2 is part of that agreement. This license means that their content is not subject to any form of potential violation of the DMCA of Dota 2, as it is covered under the copyright held by Valve. This again gets into the territory of transformative work. Now, as the video content produced by the ESL is transformative in nature and covered under the licensed permission of Valve, then the ESL's video footage is protected under their own copyright, and as such, they do have a legal right to protect their work, and it's possible, although it has not been confirmed up to this point, that that might very well be exactly what they were doing. Now, this question is raised by the site JoinDota.com, whose own article written by Abel stated that the streamers were rebroadcasting ESL 1 Gentine games on their respective Twitch channels and were casting those matches. So now here we have one of two possibilities. The first one, where these two Twitch streamers just happened to be streaming Dota 2 at the same time as ESL 1 Gentine. Now, if that were the case, then the ESL has no right or claim to the copyright, and they just screwed up big time. The second possibility is that these two Twitch streamers were indeed rebroadcasting ESL 1 Gentine and casting over it. In that case, the ESL does have a copyright that it can legally use as a platform to file DMCA strikes from, as the gameplay and the transformative nature of that gameplay means that gameplay content is original and falls under ESL 1's intellectual property. However, again, this falls into that gray area of transformative work and whether or not the changes are significant enough to warrant these two Twitch streamers to be covered. And without more information, I can't really say for certain, and I think that's one of those situations where it would probably have to go to court to be determined one way or the other. Either way, the ESL looks really bad for going after individual streamers in such a fashion, and this will hurt their already tarnished reputation in the eyes of the gaming community. In fact, if I ever do end up getting into esports casting, which could be a possibility someday, you can bet your ass it will not be for the ESL given their current reputation and their actions in recent years. But as always, please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Were the ESL in the right or were they in the wrong? Or does the legality even matter, and should the more human aspect of a large company going after a couple of individuals be the focus of the conversation? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time. If you like what I do on this channel and would like to see the channel go full-time, consider donating on Patreon or PayPal, as well as hitting that subscribe button and following me on social media. Links to everything are in the description down below.